Today is the day that I want to prove that cellists are not the most boring people on earth, or nerds or geeks or any of that kind. When the pandemic started, I started to create this YouTube channel with cello technique tutorials, how to do that, how to do this, some tips and tricks. Yes, I have to confess, some boring material sometimes, but crucial. But I have never introduced myself properly. Who I am, what are my hobbies, who I am as a person in general. So in today's video, I will share with you 40 facts about me, who I am as a person. So I hope you will not really fall asleep. And here comes fact number 1. I'm from Ghent, Belgium. Ghent is one of the most beautiful cities on earth. Not because I was born and raised there, but because it really is. So if you plan to visit Belgium, don't visit only Bruges or Brussels. Visit Ghent. You will absolutely love it. Fact number 2, I have Russian-Colombian roots. How is that? My dad is from Russia and my mother is from Colombia. I'm Catholic and I study the Bible as much as I can, because when I study the Bible, I feel that my wisdom gets richer and richer. But I have to confess that I need to go more to church. Fact number 3 is that I come from a very musical family. My dad is a cellist, my mom is a violinist. Fact number 4, I have 2 younger brothers, Cesar and Pablo, also musicians. Cesar is a violinist, Pablo is a cellist. So we are 3 boys, I'm the eldest one. 3 boys. Poor mom. Fact number 5, before I started my cello studies, I used to play soccer in the local soccer club. Fact number 6, and yeah, here it comes. So I was playing in the soccer club, so my dad took me out of the club and introduced to me the cello when I was 9 years old. Fact number 7, I used to hate the cello, but in a snap that changed quickly from hate to love. Fact number 8, my first performance ever was at the age of 10, so 1 year later when I started to play the cello. Fact number 9, my first debut with an orchestra as a soloist, it was when I was 11 years old, and I played, if my memory is very good, I played Vivaldi cello concerto in A minor. Which number, I don't know, because Vivaldi wrote so many cello concertos. Fact number 10, so in the year that I had my debut with an orchestra as a soloist, I have been awarded 3 times in national competitions. Fact number 11, after these competitions, well, you might think, wow, it's glorious, it's brilliant, but I had dark times with that guy over there, the cello. Fact number 12, but again, after the storm comes the sunrise, so again, I started to be passionate again about the cello, and I studied really a lot because I wanted to become a great cellist and artist. Fact number 13, during that period, so during my teenager period, video games were forbidden, but I was really sneaky enough, to buy video games behind my parents' back. Sorry, daddy and mom. PS4 or Xbox? I prefer PS4 because the PS4 has a trophy system. Each time that you get an achievement, you get that beautiful sound. That one. Each time that you get an achievement, or when you get a platinum for the video game. The gamers between us, you know that perfectly. Which games? All of them actually. But I prefer to play open world games like Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed, because I don't know, it kind of calms me down. I just like to explore open worlds. Why? Don't ask me why, I don't know. Fact number 16, and I'm not really proud of that one. I started to smoke at the age of 16, but okay, nobody's perfect. Still a smoker, 31 years old. Fact number 17, and here in this fact, this is one of my nicest memories ever in my whole life. In 2006, I was selected as the only Belgian musician to represent the country at the Eurovision Classical Music Contest, which was held in Vienna, but I didn't reach the final round. But in that competition, I have met one of the coolest guys ever, but ever. You cannot imagine how cool he is, and he's world famous now. Guess who he is? Luka Sulic from 2 Cello. So Luka, if by any chance you're watching this video and you remember me, big hug from Brazil. Wait a minute, Brazil? I'm from Belgium? I've been raised there by a Colombian and a Russian father. So how did I come here? Well, long story short, in 2015 until 2018, I was principal cello of the OZESP Orchestra, or in other words, the São Paulo State Symphony Orchestra, when Marin Alsop was the conductor, the chief conductor. After my period there in São Paulo, I have moved back to Europe, and there I fell in love with a beautiful Brazilian girl. I was completely crazy about her, and we lived together in different countries, in Germany, France, Luxembourg, and even the UK, so England and Scotland. Then when the pandemic has started, we came back here to Brazil, but not São Paulo. Here, this is Vitória, and yeah, the rest you can guess. We lived together, we grew up together, and we got married last month. Now, fact number 20, and this is a very important one. Is my wife a musician? No, thanks God, no. Fact number 21, I speak 6 languages, 6 or 7? No, 6 languages. But my main language is Flemish or Dutch. Flemish is the language spoken in the northern region of Belgium, which is practically Dutch, but with a different accent. Fact number 22, well, those are the rest of the languages, so we just spoke about Dutch or Flemish. I speak Russian because of my father. With my father, I always speak in Russian. Spanish because of my mother, because she's Colombian. English we learn at school. French we learn at school. And also we need to learn French in Belgium, as Belgium is a bilingual country. So we need absolutely to learn French and Portuguese. As okay, I used to live in Brazil, and okay, with my wife, I'm speaking every day Portuguese. So that's why I speak 6 languages. Fact number 23, and this is an interesting question. If I wouldn't be a cellist, which instrument I would play? I think I would choose for the organ. Why I would be an organist? It's because I just love the sound of it. It's huge and you have the feeling like it has no limitations, and I don't know, I love in general churches, beautiful churches, and when I see an organ and when I see someone playing the organ, it's just amazing. Listen to some Bach works, Bach organ works, like his Passacaglias and Fugas, you get, like crazy of it. So that's why I would be an organist, if not a cellist. And what about if I wouldn't be a musician? I don't know. Maybe I would be a soccer player, maybe I would be something else. A cook, because I love cooking also. But no, my calling is to be a musician. God gave me a talent, and He gave me a talent in order to develop and to be a musician. Point final. Fact number 26, and this is not a really easy thing for me to choose. What are my favorite composers? There are so many of them, but for me, on number 1 always will be Bach. Always. But I also love Schubert. So anyway, there are other composers, but Beethoven, Brahms, and so on. But these 2 guys, I don't know. For me, these are 2 geniuses. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just crazy about their music. Fact number 27. Which countries have I visited? Well, for this I needed to write down because I cannot remember everything by heart, so I noted down. So I have been to the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, France, Brazil, well, where I am currently, Colombia, Turkey, Italy, Spain, Greece, Belarus, Russia, Switzerland, England, Scotland, Portugal, Croatia, Poland, and Hungary. Most of these countries were for performances, for concerts, but some of them, like Turkey, Greece, I went there for holidays, but a long time ago with the family when I was still a teenager. But there is one country that is on my bucket list, one country that I absolutely want to visit before I die, and that's the USA. So for the Americans watching this video right now, please let me know in the comment section below which places I absolutely have to visit, or which cities or which states, I would really appreciate that, because USA is on my bucket list and I will find you. How I spent my time during the pandemic? Fantastic. I could do so many things I couldn't do before the pandemic. Like, I recorded all the suites, so the complete cello suites by Bach. These are things I could never do before. I spent a quality time with my wife. Because of work, I only came in the night and we just spent for dinner and then to sleep, the next day to work. Also, I created this YouTube channel with these tutorials, and I'm really glad that I'm really helping a lot of people out with problems and so on, because that's my duty, to serve the others. And also, I started with teaching online. In the beginning, I was not really enthusiastic about it because I thought to give cello lessons online, this will never work. But of course, studying it, having the right equipment, like a very good, full HD webcam or a great microphone and a great internet connection, which is the most important thing, everything worked really fine. And I just love it because it's online. I get people from all over the world. I have students from the United States until Australia, so it's really interesting to learn about their cultures a little bit. Fact number 29. No, I don't drink alcohol since almost 4 years. My favorite drinks are coffee. I love coffee, and of course, a Coke never can miss. And I need a zip because I'm talking too much. Fact number 30, my favorite social media. My favorite social media, first of all, is YouTube, but also Instagram. So if you have Instagram, come follow me there, where you can see more of my work. To practice the whole day or to appreciate nature? Good question. I prefer to have contact with nature rather than sitting the whole day in this room here practicing, because by getting in touch with nature, I reflect and it calms me down, and this gives me a boost for everything, including for cello practices. So I prefer to get more in touch with nature rather than sitting locked up in a room. Unless, of course, I have a very, very important event to go, like, I don't know, orchestra audition or a cello competition. Then, of course, I need to put priorities. Now, this fact will shock probably most of the people. So, I studied with Clemens Hagen at the Mozarteum in Salzburg, and I've studied also with Jérôme Pernot at the Conservatoire National Supérieur de Paris. No, not Paris, Paris, sorry. But I didn't finish anything of my studies, so I don't have any degree or diploma in music. All the formation I got with my father at home and with my dear Belgian teacher, which I owe so much. His name is Hans Mannes, who was a former student from Maurice Gendron and Pierre Fournier. So haters, bring it on. Fact number 33, I'm a very generous person. When I like the person, when I really feel that a person has a good energy, I'll give everything for that person. Fact number 34, I'm not a jealous person at all. When I see someone that is better than me or more experienced, no, instead of being jealous, instead of being like, you bastard or something, no, instead my eyes, they start to, puff, to open up, and I want to learn more from that person in order to develop myself and to become a better musician or a better human being. Number 35. Okay, so I'm really based on classical music, but you might wonder, is there another kind of music you would like to listen? Of course. To sit the whole day practicing classical music, to listen all day long classical music, this is so boring sometimes. So of course I have other genres that I like. I like, for instance, a lot of bossa nova, but good bossa nova, like Elis Regina. Tom Jobim is fantastic. I like metal also. I was actually raised with Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer and Anthrax, so actually the big four. And there are other things that I like to listen, jazz, blues, and so on. So not only classical music, because it makes it boring. My favorite meal, well, burgers. There's nothing that will beat burgers. I just love burgers. No, sorry. I forgot. As I'm in Brazil, so the Brazilians, of course, they know what it is. Churrasco, picanha. For the ones that don't know that, churrasco is a Brazilian barbecue that, the garçon, he comes and he cuts the meat in front of you, and the meat is just fantastic. Every time when I'm in a bad mood and I go to that Brazilian churrascaria, immediately it puts a smile onto my face. So guys, if you are coming to Brazil and you're not going to a Brazilian churrascaria, then consider that you never have been in Brazil. Every single day, I take 45 minutes out of my time to take a walk, because by taking walks, it's good for my brain and it's good for my physical health as well, in order to stay in shape. Because when I play the cello, it demands a lot of physics, right? It demands a lot, so I need to stay in shape. Whenever I can, I have the possibility, I go to the gym to work out. If you have watched some of my videos, I'm talking a lot about posture, and posture you can develop, by muscle training. Although many people probably will disagree with me because we get stiff arms or whatever. That's always in the beginning. In the beginning, we always get stiff, but then you get used to it and you will feel also more stamina. You will feel more strength, and this is really important in cello playing. So that's why exercise is very important. Fact number 38. So we were talking about movement, sport. Believe it or not, when I was younger, so when I was a teenager, I used to do karate and I used to do sistema, which is Russian martial arts. So if somebody comes with a knife, I can disarm him quickly and easy, I think, if I don't get in panic. Now, this is a very common question that I get. Who are my 3 top cellists? Actually, I can call so many names because there are so many great cellists that I love, but okay, let's say the 3 favorite cellists that inspire me. Number 1 comes Paulo Casals, because Paulo Casals inspires me so much as a human being, and also because of Paulo Casals, we have the Bach cello suites, and the Bach cello suites, for me, it's like it completes the soul, it completes the human soul. So Paulo Casals. Then Daniel Shafran. I love Daniel Shafran because he's really original. Many people like him, others they hate him because of his special way of playing. But what I love about him is that he speaks and sings every note. And that brings me to the 3rd cellist that I love, which is Truls Mørk. I never heard such a beautiful sound in my life like Truls Mørk playing. It's amazing, check them out, really. And well, you're probably gonna agree with me, maybe partially. Now, this is also very important. Music or technique? Both, of course, but music still comes on the first place. But also there is the other side, that without a good technical foundation, it gets difficult to play music. So both, but always put music on the first place, but also work a lot on your technique in order to have facilities to play music. Right, so those were the 40 facts about me. I am tired, exhausted, so I imagine you are dead by listening about my life. But that's me. Now you know me better, who I am. But now I want something in return from you. Now, don't worry, it's not about money or anything about that. No, what I want from you is give a few facts about you. Put them in the comment section below. I want to learn, I want to know about my subscribers, because it kind of sucks, I open my YouTube and I see numbers of subscribers, but I know that these numbers are human beings, so I want to know you better. So, comment in the section below, put a few facts about you, and let's have some fun. Let's be ourselves. Anyway, let's give it a stop. That's it for today. I hope that you found my life interesting, or at least a little bit interesting, so you don't have this image of me that I'm this boring cello teacher that only talks about cello technique and how this, that. No, that I'm somebody else actually. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.